ain't going back. Not gonna buy into all that. Hey, ain't gonna hide. Gonna let all the fears slide. Got mother nature is on my side. Got all of the loving growing inside.
Hey everyone, welcome again to the Odyssey of Truth. I'm here once again with Cambell. We have a surprise recording coming up right now, something that we hadn't planned on, but as we got together today to discuss what we're going to do in the future and the current events going on freedom, what is freedom, what's false freedom, what's real freedom, we decided to do a Odyssey of Truth and Odyssey of Truth on freedom. What's it for you? How do you know it's real? How can you tell when it stinks? How can you tell when you're feeling good about it? And how do you know when you're actually moving and not just full of hopium and falling down by the side and losing what could be momentum if you chose to do some actual movements for yourself. Hey Cambell,
how you going, Lorenzo? Yeah, freedom, right? Hopium, it's been thrown around a lot, and yeah, so we were just having a talk before we got started about some experiences that we've had with people who, you know, that they put on a good show, don't they? And they've got the facade and they look the part, but not much happens. They rant and rave and everyone runs around and follows them and rants and raves with them. And then at the end of the day, they sit down and they look and they're in the same spot. And we've seen this a few times. And of course, at the moment, there's lots of things going on, including, you know, the convoy, indeed. So we're just questioning, we were just questioning, is that legit? Because as we know, with the way that this, they like to run the system, they promote what they want us to hear, what they want us to follow. I mean, things don't, and you've got to understand they own all, they own everything. They own Google, all the networks. So any company that can promote a video or a cause, they own. So if we're seeing it, it's kind of being promoted.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying people shouldn't get off their bums and do something. I'm not saying they shouldn't get together and figure out how to make a better world, or to go, to the heads of wherever their politicians are and make some noise, pull down the buildings. Tarring and feathering sounds good to me in some instances still right now. I think that'd be a great idea, or more or less, depending on what you want to do. But Cambell and I have looked, as we were discussing, over the world and our experiences. And I've seen hippie communities, I've seen new age communities, we've seen the love movement of the 60s, we've seen tree huggers, logging blockades, and all kinds of things. And, I love trees. I think they should leave the world alone. I think people should live free. I think there should be free love, and everything should be free, so to speak, as far as you want to. But, what's really changed over the course of my life, and I can say not much at all on the outside world. I've watched a direct movement towards the incarceration of intelligence and humanity, since I've been born, for the last half a century. And as much as there's been, Rand Paul and Ann Paul and Trump and what they're doing here, and free man on the land, and Cambell and I discussed that a little bit about becoming a natural citizen or a straw man and killing this. And really, what's happening is not much at all. When I look out my window, I don't see people being more free. I see them being less free on a day-by-day basis, as a general movement of the population, I can say, from what I've seen.
Yeah, I think it has to always be about, results, right? We've got to measure all this stuff by results. We're 2.5 years into this, and of course, a lot of people from the very start have been saying, this will happen here, this will happen here, oh, this has happened, just, so hope that hopium is now a word, right? It's now a thing. That wasn't even a thing in 2019.
No,
but it's been used so much, it's now a word, right? It's been crowned. And when we were talking before, we were just mentioning, January, can I even say the date? If I say it now, it'll be broken up. 6th. Look what happened there. Everyone was joining. They were all there, to make a big change and all this stuff. And they were, of course, following, that their leader, their the big T. But look what happened. There's people still in jail over a year later, not charged, and this is the thing, they didn't do anything wrong, but what happened? Nothing good. One person dead, lots in jail, and it's given fodder to the media to demonize them for the last year. So I think we just need to be careful about what we're getting into, and what do we do? You know, what are we putting our energy into is really, you know, are
Very
we
important.
putting our energy into support something that's just going to be another big circle? You wake up and go, oh, I'm in the same spot, or is it gonna, you know, are we stepping sideways and going somewhere different? Because the other thing I notice is lots of people fighting and yelling out, we want our lives back, right? We want, and what was their life? We want the system back. We want to be ruled. Just let us be little slaves again. Now, this is not good.
I have to feed my family. I have to make a living. I have to pay my mortgage. I have to pay my truck off. We have to pay our bills. We have to, you know, fill in the blanks, send our kids to school. Universities come in and it's expensive. You know, my kids need shoes or dental work or expensive glasses. And all of those, in my opinion, are slave-based alternatives for how you can be happy, healthy, and free. And, you know, fighting to have them back, could that not be what the system wants? You know, when you look at something, and if you've got, let's say, 1 million or 10 million people in the world right now, okay, the convoy's going, they're screaming, they're yelling at governments, but what are they really doing? Okay, so they're yelling at governments. They want the mandates supposedly taken down. They want the rules changed, but then they're basically saying on the shadow side of that, or the other side of that, those rules are real. The governments have power. The governments can control my life. They can change my rules for the better or for the worse. They can allow me to work or not. They can allow me to have food or not. So basically, you're arguing for your allowance. And who gets an allowance? Well, a kid, when they're growing up and their parents allow them or give them an allowance, a bit of money, a bit of freedom. So basically, in my opinion, what could be going on, or what has been going on by all the fighting, is you are literally telling your mommy and daddy, or the people ruling you, or you know, or whoever's in charge, please, please, please change the rules so that I can do, you know, fill in your own blanks, so that I can do this for my family, so that I can do this for my life, so that I can travel and see my grandparents again, so that I can not take your crazy, you know, drugs or medicine, you know, so that I can grow food in my backyard. And all of it is like, well, what? Why do you even believe they have any of these powers, rules, or sayings over your life?
Yeah, it's like, I'm 18 now, mummy and daddy, you know, can I stay up till 12 and sleep out on the weekends? Yeah, I mean, if you, and this is a thing, you know, so many people have been, you know, asking, in this chanting, you know, freedom. That's an oxymoron. That whole act. If you're free, you don't need to go and, well, you definitely don't need to ask for freedom, but you don't even need to tell someone you're free. You just are. It's like, do you walk around going, I'm a human, flesh and blood, hair? I can hear. I mean, people do, or not.
Yeah.
You know, this is if you are free, you're free. That's it. And so it's the act. You know, it's you know, people are what they do, not what they say. So chanting freedom is saying something, but living in freedom and acting in freedom is something completely different. We've finally got mask mandates, you know, in Perth, where I am, because basically, you know, we haven't had anything really for the last couple of years, but now it's apparently everywhere. You know, this is what I've heard. I don't listen to the news, but everyone's wearing them, and people, you know, being silly and wearing them in cars and doing stupid stuff. I've been to the shop 3 times since it's been announced. I've never ever put a thing on my face. I just walk in, do my stuff. No, none of the staff look at me. The only people that look at me are kids, go, ooh, because they can see my face. And people who give you that look like, oh crap, I wish I wasn't wearing one of these stupid things on my face. And this is it. I'm not going to walk in and go, oh God, they've said I need to do this, or maybe I'll put it on my chin just to, no, I'm free. This is crap. They're mandates. So I just walk in, buy my stuff and walk out. And like I said, I've never even been questioned or looked at sideways, and everyone else is walking around with their stupid thing on their face. And so freedom is not asking, it's not telling, it's just doing. And this is sort of what we were discussing is, you know, is all this, you know, what's happening now with the convoy, is this just another distraction? Is this just to get people to chant something, say something instead of do something?
not that we're against. I'm going to be very clear. I'm so happy people are doing things. So happy. It looks like they're getting off their asses. If you go to newagora.ca, our website, we put 3 or 4 of the videos up ourselves. We've done some of the articles. A lot of the people working with us are even involved in going to the protests and in standing up with the governments. And it's fine. It's a good first step. It really is. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you got to do something to do something. But what we're saying is, it's like if you're in a cage and you're on one side of the cage, and then you go to the other side of the cage and you scream, "We're free over here," or the government says it's okay to go to the left side of the cage or the back of the cage, or if it's a 500-mile cage, you can go 400 miles now instead of before where you could only go 200 miles. Right. In the end, there's still a wall and you're still in the cage. And, if you imagine doing this your whole life for 50, 60, 150 years, and then you die inside the cage, you really have to understand, in my opinion, or I have started to understand, what is freedom? How do you get out of the cage? What is your true feelings for being free? Are you missing perhaps some of the potential you have as a human, as a person, as a being, your dreaming side, your energy side, your side of loving through all the challenges, or breaking beyond the boundaries of the cage? Are you missing something? That you feel that you're satisfied, like you go, yeah, I went to the government, I stood there for 5 days, I had a party, we painted Canadian flags on our faces, and we slapped each other's asses, and when we did, we stood around and danced without masks. And okay, what do you do after that? What comes
Exactly.
after?
It's like, a little kid, when you go shopping and the kid's like, I want that, I want that teddy bear, I want that, blah, 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 blah. And they just want the child to shut up because they're doing something. So they handed a lollipop. Okay. Then the kid's like, I've got something. I'm happy now for a while. Okay, cool. That's it. People get up and yell and scream, and it's like, okay, well, and how many times have they done it? We'll drop all the mandates and no more masks, and everyone goes, yay. 2 weeks later, guys, there's a new variant. Guess what?
Sorry.
Everything's back. And then when they put it back in, there doesn't seem to be an uproar. That's when it needs to happen. That's when it needs to be everyone on the street go, no, you repealed this, no, it does not come back in. But they do it, and then they go, look at this, we'll introduce it, see what happens, right? And everyone complies. That's the problem. It's there's no use, jumping up and down and cheering and screaming and making noise if at the end of the day nothing changes. And like Lorenzo said, we're not trying to be, negative Nancy's or negative Neds. Put it down, because, a lot of people need this. A lot of people need to see people standing up so they can go, wow, okay, it's not just me. I'm not crazy. They see what I see. So that is it's important. And obviously energy, together is important, but where's this going? This is the thing. It's got to be led in the right direction, because down in Australia, we have some pretty big, channels. And this is the other thing. All these channels have popped up in the last 2 years, right? Where were they all 2 years ago? And some of the bigger channels, like there's one called Aussie Cossack and a few others. And now, they've been covering all this stuff and showing what's been going on in Australia. And now their call is, oh, we're going to go and we're going to be politicians, so vote for us.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying. That's just reinstalling the system. That's them going, oh, they really don't like our politicians. Oh my God, they want to hunt us down there talking about Nuremberg too. Let's just put in some politicians they like. How do we do that? Well, let's spend 2 years building up their likableness. I mean, I'm not saying this is true, and I'm not saying anything against Simeon. I think he's done a good job, but we need to consider, these things and watch and not get caught up in the game and the hype, right? Where they go, yeah, I'm the Pied Piper, I'm going this way, follow me. Oh, sorry, we just walked off a cliff.
I mean, yeah,
we've got to be smarter than this.
You don't want to, nobody, in my opinion, is 18 and says, okay, I don't need my parents anymore, and then go looking for new parents. I don't need these parents anymore. I'm going to find better. I mean, a lot of people do, right? I've heard it told, and I've seen where, men marry their mother and women marry their fathers, and to find that sort of a balance in their life, because they still want to be told what to do or nurtured. And it happens a lot. I see it all the time. But, if you want to be free and you're looking for your own desires in life, you really aren't saying, well, I've got one set of rulers, now I need another. I mean, having more politicians is more of the same garbage. Right. And, anybody that's going to leave a note here, and a few people have had it, says, well, people are just going to kill each other and there'll be violence and we don't have rules and we need police to make sure we're all safe. And you're going, well, yeah, maybe when you're 5 years old, but eventually, maybe people could figure out what's going on with their hearts, what's going on with their intent, what's going on with their feelings and their dreams and what they would really like to be doing. And if they even want to be free, you don't want to be free. That's fine. You want someone to tell you what to do. That's also fine. You want to find someone else in your life that wants to tell you what to do. Hey, it's, in my opinion, you're free to do what you feel like, if that's the kind of life you want, but, don't, perhaps if you wish to be free, what we're saying is fall into the trap of fighting for rules or changes in rules that really shouldn't be there in the first place, right? So if everyone turned around and, as Cambell did, and ignored the so-called mandates or ignored the so-called rules, I mean, don't wear a mask, I've never seen any food shortages, I've never seen any restrictions, I've seen people do all kinds of things because they felt like it and simply because they chose to do so. So, what do you do from there? I think is the question, as far as being a free person, if that's what it is you're really after, and maybe then even finding out what it means to be free. What is freedom for you?
Exactly. If we haven't defined it, then what are we doing? Where are we going? That if you don't know what freedom for you is and what it looks like, then you're just going to follow someone else's concept of freedom. They're going to go, look, that's freedom over there. And you're going to go, okay, yeah, that kind of looks like freedom. They're like, of course it's freedom. Of course it's freedom. Quick, hold this flag, hold this banner, come with us. It's freedom time. But that's not your freedom. And the thing is, all freedom is personal freedom. What's freedom to someone else is not necessarily freedom to you. So by following other people, you're not following yourself, clearly, right? And I talk about this a lot in thinking, right? Being autodidactic. You need as many points of view as you can get, because then you can make your own decision. So if you don't know what freedom is to you, look at what all the other people are doing and take the bits that mean something to you, because your freedom is going to be individual. And then when you know what that is, just start living it. Just start working towards it. You don't need to tell people. You don't need to have people cheering you on. You really don't. You just need to go and live free. And if everyone did that, we wouldn't have governments. And, on the part of people thinking they need government and police, clearly we're not in the position now where we wanted to fund all the police. So we're not saying that. But look into the police department. What do they do? Look at the stats. How many people are they actually helping compared to how many people are they killing and locking up every year? This is a control thing. And it's just really, people think they feel safe if they've got protectors, so-called protectors. But what really makes them feel safe is their box. The walls are easier to see. That's it. Everything that if you're relying on the outside world to come save you, then that's just a big wall, right? And a big, mummy daddy. And I was watching JP Sears yesterday, and he was talking about gun control. And he was saying, well, a real man knows how to protect his family. He doesn't need to call the police. He doesn't rely on mummy and daddy. He doesn't rely on someone else. He learns what he needs to do so that if someone's at the door, he can protect his family. All right. It's called responsibility. And again, we're not saying defund all these people, but we need to be responsible, personally responsible. It's like, if everyone did that, would we need the police force? And that's how you get rid of the police force. You don't just sack them and yell at people. You create a world where they're not needed.
Yeah, and if it's troubling at first, if there's problems at first, if there's fights at first, then of course any type of new birth has pains and challenges which are involved in that. And being free, what does it mean? I mean, look around. Are you willing to look at your own body? Are you willing to look at your own mind? Are you willing to look at your own relationships? Are you willing to look at your own love? Are you willing to look at all these things and say, they're okay. I am healthy. I am happy. I am free. Perhaps, convoys and hippie sits and tree hugging and protests and all this stuff are just distractions from looking at your own life and figuring out how you can be free. I mean, if you're healthy, you don't need a doctor, right? If your heart is working, you don't need you don't need to be looking for a man or a woman, even though you might want to do that. If your mind is okay, you don't need a psychiatrist, right? If you're feeling safe, as Campbell just said, then you don't need the police. If you're growing your own food, you don't need food mandates or allowances, or if your life is all within walking distance, let's say, you don't really care about travel mandates either, and things like that. So I'm not saying you don't want to travel, you don't need food, you don't want to grow, you don't want to do any of these things. I'm not saying any of those things. What I'm saying is look at home, see what's going on inside, and see how you need to perhaps take responsibility for your own freedom in every sense of the word: spiritual, physical, mental, protection wise, health, and see maybe where you're not having that first, before you start looking towards some outside permissional, source of authority to tell you you're okay now. You can go back to having your 4 beers and pizza on the weekend, and it doesn't matter if you're 400 pounds and a trucker, you're still a good man because you're protesting in Canada, and it doesn't matter if you're 400 pounds and you've got diabetes from having a horrible diet your whole life. Yay for you for helping us.
Yep. I've got a doctor for that. It's all about, this is the thing. I'm an anarchist, right? And you say that to people and they lose their minds. Gosh, I said that to my mum once. Should have heard the reaction to that. People don't understand what the word means or what the concept means. We're taught that anarchy, right? Anarchy, it's just when everyone's running around screaming, stealing and beating people up, right? That's not anarchy. Anarchy, is to live without the rulers. Basically, it's, the arc is archons, and against, it's living without rulers. So it's personal responsibility. And it's like Lorenzo was saying, it's to the point where if you get sick, you're going to have to look after yourself, or even better, right? Live a lifestyle where you won't get sick, because at the moment, people are like, oh, well, I'll just eat 10 more hamburgers because I can go to the hospital. I can go to a doctor and they'll fix me, and this whole thing about choice. People are yelling and screaming, oh, pro-choice, I'm not getting that in my arm. But I've, had McDonald's twice a day for the last 2 years, been watching Netflix, drinking lots of Coke. I mean, come on. That's a choice, and that's a choice that's going to end you up back in the system. And this is what the system is designed for. Pretty much everything, right? You can go out a bit. And if you're using the system, you'll hit a point where you have to go back and ask the system for help. You'll be broke. You'll be unhappy. You'll be unhealthy. And the system always has the answer for you. But we've been doing this for at least 200 years, let's say that. And this is the thing, people are scared of responsibility. So, anarchy is not, people running around destroying things. Anarchy is self-responsibility. And when people are self-responsible, if people are doing the wrong thing, they're going to be stopped. They're going to be not tolerated. Just back on the gun thing, right? And I'm not saying anti or pro-gun, I'm just talking. If you have a situation where there's a mass shooter, right, and he's in a state where he knows the people have been disarmed, well, he's just going to go in and he can do what he wants. If he's in a state where he knows everyone is allowed to carry a gun, and probably 70% of people are, do you think he's going to go in and pull out a gun? No, because he's going to die. This is the thing. And again, that's a choice. And just to harp on this, right? JP Sears he actually went through all these countries where people had been disarmed, had agreed to give up their freedoms. And in every single case, within a decade, those people were being genocided. Every single case. And so this is, I'm not saying everything's that severe, right? But if we give away, if we say, okay, yeah, we will do this, where's it stop? Doubles, triples. Now you can't go here. Now you can't go there. Now you're going to get arrested because you pulled your mask down too long when you were taking that sip of your drink, because that's what you can do, right, with a mask. it works when you put it down to drink. But this is the thing. It's the same thing as if we start giving up freedoms and letting them go, we're just putting ourselves in a position where they can just move in and just harass us and do what they want, because we have no power left. We've given it all away.
You have to be responsible for yourself.
We do.
Yeah. You have to take responsibility for your health, your wealth, your life, all of it. You know, if you're a strong man, you don't care about anything going on outside of you. You just make a choice and you make yourself in such a ways that you're free, you're healthy, you have the food, you figure it out, right? You know, if you don't think you have a choice, you won't do anything. You know, I would say the war in some ways is a war on imagination. If you can't imagine yourself free, if you can't imagine yourself being in a better place, if you can imagine how you would find a solution, if your imagination is saying, well, you need this group or this government or this coupon, which they call money in your pocket, in order to do something, and then you do. And I think with the governments, like with the love movement, with the freedom movement of the 60s, with right now, is people have a great desire to be free. There's no doubt about it. I think our innate instincts are to be free. So if they can harness that, so let's say you have a whole bunch of energy and you're about to be free, and they go, well, this is how you be free. You get in a truck and you drive here, right? Or this is how you be free. You hug your neighbor. Cambell and I were talking about it. You hang around naked in a tent and you have as much sex as you want with all the girls when you're 18, and you take lots of acid, and then you're free, right? Or you can have all the cannabis you want, and then you're free. You can have all the alcohol you want, and then you're free. And of course, if they're a misdirection, and I believe they all are, at the end of it, maybe you've got a headache, maybe you've had more sex, maybe you've got an extra, hamburger, as Cambell would say, or an extra $50,000 in the bank, but are you free? I think the monsters just trick you, or the powers that be, or the archons, or the rulers, or the overschmoes, or the ankle biters, whatever you want to call them, into misdirecting or misappropriating yourself through your own actions and your own energy that could be used for other things that they're more afraid of, like anarchy, let's say.
Exactly. I'm thinking for yourself, and this is what they do, that they take the energy. We all know what happened in the 60s, right? Everyone was like, let's be free. And yeah, they came in and said, oh yeah, well, the way to be free is to have music festivals, get off your face and dance around in fields.
Yeah.
And then they did that, right? And then while they were doing that, all this stuff's going on in the background, because you look at 1969 compared to 1971, like 2 years, it's a different world, right? Because why? Mainly because they introduced, cocaine, and got everyone on that, right? And then changed the music, changed the frequency. Everyone's in a club in the dark, rooting everyone they can find. And then this is 3 years before everyone was a hippie, right? Just free love. And this is how and I was just thinking, prohibition, right? Was that done because people weren't drinking enough?
Of course.
I saw a picture the other day of a protest. Give us beer.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they're not drinking enough. What do we do? Let's take it away, and then they'll ask for it, and then everyone will want to drink. We've got to be smarter, is what we're saying. We've got to see things from a different perspective and not be so wrapped up in the story. And again, we, everyone, people, we're what we do. We're not what we say. And, Lorenzo has referenced it a few times. So I'll tell you my little story about when I was in Cairns in the 90s, sort of early mid 90s. Not Cairns, sorry, Byron Bay, which is New South Wales, Australia, subtropical, and they were having logging blockades. So of course, the call went out, and all the protesters went up to this logging blockade. So me and a friend, we were just traveling around. We thought, we'll go and check it out. And so we got there, and interesting place. There's all these people who are very defined. I'm a hippie. I'm a feral. I'm a wizard. And like Lorenzo said, there was literally a teepee full of naked people. They were the naked people. And there was, so all these groups, I'm here because I'm a hippie. I'm here because I'm this. These people just sat around and did nothing. They did nothing. Okay, literally once a day, this girl, she was studying, she, had a degree, who knew what she was talking about, would come up, and she'd sort of talk to everyone and say, this is what's going on, we need to do this, and basically give them the plan. And then most of them, excuse me, most of them would ignore it. So they were just sitting around, like patting themselves on the back. We're saving the forest. We're saving the forest. They weren't. They were sitting around. And worse is all the farmers were sending up food, you know, saying, thanks for being there. We got to work. You know, we appreciate it. And so they were feeding them. And there was a big tent set up and had mosquito nets all around it to keep the food good, because this is the tropics or the subtropics. These people would just walk in, unzip the ice cream door and leave it open. And they'd grab one piece of food. And within half an hour, the whole inside of the tent would be full of flies, all in the food. Most of the food would just have to be thrown out. And this happened multiple times. And I was only there a couple of days. So this is the thing, you know, it's facading, right? And if you've seen my other videos, facading, they're just trying to look like something. They're just trying to change the image. Oh, I didn't like it when I was this person, so now I'm a feral. I didn't like it when I wore clothes, so now I'm naked. You know, look at me, look how I've changed the world. I mean, look at you, you're running around going to work, but I'm sitting here in the mud with no clothes on. So come on. Who cares? Life is about results, not about bloody, you know, pretending that you're doing something.
I mean, if everyone used their reason, I think they could get over a lot of the problems. And that, you know, they're trying to kill us with all the vaccines. They're trying to kill us with all the chemtrails. They're trying to kill us with all the food. They're trying to kill us with all the GMOs. They're trying to kill us with all of, you know, if they are in control of the water system and they are in control of the air and they are in control of the food, they could kill you all in 5 seconds. I mean, if you look at what the army has and what, you know, if they really wanted to kill people, they really wanted to destroy the population, if they really wanted to follow the Georgia Guidestones and get people down to 500 million or whatever it is, it really, if you think about it, really wouldn't take that much of an effort to end a whole bunch of lives very quickly. Right? Spray the air, everyone's dead. You know, poison the water system, everyone's dead. You know, whatever, you know, so, you know, maybe what's really going on is an energetic battle for your own conscious control of things, I would say. You know, perhaps everything is, maybe you're already free. Think about it. Maybe everyone is already free. So you're free to be as stupid as you want to be. You're free to be as free as you want to be. And maybe the monsters or rulers that rule already know your sovereignty is sacrosanct. You already are free. So if anything bad happens to you, it has to be harming yourself. Self-harm, as they say, the self that goes in front of everything is a little ad nauseastic at this point. Maybe I've just made up a word, but maybe you have to do it to yourself. Maybe you have to keep yourself in a cage. Maybe you have to get yourself free. And maybe the monsters that be are smarter than you, and that's what they're doing. They're tricking you to stay in the cage. They're tricking you to hurt yourself. They're tricking you to remain, as Cambell said, you know, fighting for your right to, you know, I've seen all the trees come down, logging, you know, protests haven't done anything. You know, I see the chemtrails, I see the sickness, I see everyone masked, I see people getting stupider and more enslaved as they're supposedly fighting to be free. So, you know, what's really going on is, I think, what Cambell and I are saying. Like I said, protest all you want, get off your ass, do the good stuff, realize what's going on, get together, you know, tarring, feathering, or worse for the people that think they're in charge. You know, I think their pants should be pulled down, that they should be spanked a whole bunch in public and then sent on their way. Well, you know, you go and make a better day for yourself. But really, what it really comes down to is, if you want to be sovereign, if you want to be free, if you want to live in anarchy and have no rulers, as a lot of people say, they just want to be free, well, you have to figure out what that is and then act on it without seeking mommy or daddy's okie dokie.
Free your mind, right? Now they give us so many paradigms, and like I say, you know, people protest and they just give them a little bit more, and people think that they've had a win and that they're free, but really, I mean, what's changed? And this is the whole, you know, topic of this conversation is, you know, just we've really got to, you know, like 2 years, right? 2 years. What has changed? Like Lorenzo said, logging blockades everywhere in the 90s, like 25 years ago. They're still cutting down trees.
Fighting GMOs,
old growth forest, GMOs, all this stuff.
Nuclear power, green power, chemtrail power. You know,
schooling. Look at what they teach now compared to just 25 years ago, let alone 100. Right?
I think everyone's being distracted. Sorry, Kim,
yeah,
didn't mean to.
No, you're right. We are being distracted, and of course, it's mainly with, you know, the job and the routine and all this. But when people start to wake up, you know, it kind of is a bit of a feeling like the 60s, right? People start waking up, so they have to take control of the narrative.
Right.
And of course, we know this isn't all about, you know, some deadly V floating around, but that's, you know, that's a good way to take away, as we know, right? Take away all these, you know, rights which don't exist. You just have the right to do what you want, but they take them away, and everyone screams and yells. Then they give you back 90%, right? And people think they're free, and then they go along and they're cool for another 50 years
Right.
until they have to do it again.
So they
And so we've got to be very careful. We're not just playing a game.
No.
You know, the proof is in the pudding, right? If your life has not changed, well, then what's the point? You know, figure out if you've been working and thinking you're doing stuff and you're in the same position, well, why? Obviously what you've been doing is not working. What will work? You know, if you're at a protest, awesome, get there. But don't just hold a sign, go, yay, 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 we're free, and then go home. Talk to people. Who's in your area? Who are the business owners? Who can you support? Who can you help? You know, what can you do? Because this is, you know, we've got to start doing, right? People are what they do, not what they say. So yeah, we just think that we've really got to sort of reassess this and really, you know, look at everything. Because like I said, you know, January 6th, everyone followed Mr. T. You know, it was organized by him and his party. They got all the people there. You know, there was, you know, if you saw it, there were big stages, there was, you know, all this equipment. So that was, you know, cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars to set up. And then Mr. T actually led them. Let's go down and do this. Right. And again, I'm just saying this, I'm not putting an opinion out there, but look what happened. He somehow didn't make it into the building and disappeared. Everyone else went into the building. Someone got killed. A lot of them are still in jail, and it's just being used as, you know, as fodder against them. So, you know, we've got to look at this. Is this what this convoy is? Is this what all these things are? You know, are they just redirecting, you know, our energy and saying, look, you did have a win. You did.
You did.
Okay.
Now go back.
Now go back and be a good little slave.
They call it the supply chain. It's still a chain, right? So what does that mean, right? This, you know, they're going to break the supply chain, you know, even in the wording, right? You should be afraid of that. So what happened 200 years ago? Supposedly there was no supermarkets. People grew their own food, right? If the people in the next county didn't like you, you had the people in your community that would support you. If one doctor was lying to you, you know, maybe you had an old grandmother who had the cure with herbs and plants and you were all right. You know, there was no medical chain. There was no supply chain. There was no monetary. Like, what do you do if you have no money? Like, what would most people do? Freak out, lie. Oh my goodness, I worked. And then, you know, you can't buy food. Well, maybe you're supposed to figure out something else. Maybe food isn't meant to be bought, but meant to be grown and created. You know, maybe you're meant to eat less than you do. I would say, from looking at the waistlines of a lot of the people I've come across over the last couple of years, I would say most of them could do with about half of what they've been consuming, maybe even 3/4 less. So, you know, if not more, you know, so what are you fighting for? What's going on? If you're looking for, you know, the desire to keep having those hamburgers, to keep being a slave, to have your beers on the weekend and your pizza and watch the Super Bowl, and that's your desire for freedom, well, you know, you're a hamster on that wheel. Maybe you're a fat hamster on a slow wheel or a skinny hamster on a fast wheel. But either way, you're going in circles and you're going to end up, we all know where we end up going, right? You know, just look at your ancestors, go visit a cemetery. And, you know, there are no survivors in this world. So what are you doing to make sure that you are as you would like to be? I would say, as you would desire your freedoms. See through the facade. That's a good way to put it.
No one gets out of here alive. You know, and you hear it so often that people, you know, complain, or at least express that they keep having the same things pop up. They keep going back to the same position, you know, having the same things to deal with. Well, what I would say is that is positive proof that you're going around in circles. Clearly, right? You're doing something, you end up at the same spot. I'll try, end up at the same spot. All you need to do is try something different. If it doesn't work, go tick, doesn't work, try something different and get new information, you know, work on it. But they're sort of, what they do is it's like, oh, but last time you were here, you didn't have a smartphone, you know, now look at all this stuff, get distracted, Facebook, you know, and so it's the same thing. Like Lorenzo was saying, we're not focusing on our lives and where we are and are we progressing? What are we building? You know, we're focusing on out there. And I was thinking the other day about movies and TV, and everyone's like, oh, movies are programming us and all this. And I totally agree. Just my opinion. But I was thinking every single movie or TV show you have ever seen, video clip, whatever, anything, is showing you reality as it is, isn't it? Everything. People live in a house, people have jobs, people have a family structure, blah, blah, blah. So everything, it's everything. Like if you turn on a comedy show, that they're still, you know, like I said, living, they've all got jobs, they're doing this, they're eating a certain kind of food. So at the smallest level, it's a program telling you this is normal, this is where you live, this is how it's supposed to be. You know, you just don't get the shows that, you know, I mean, maybe on YouTube of people out in the bush, you know, just building stuff out of the forest and living and doing okay and doing very well and a lot less stress because they don't want us to know. So yeah, just it's all an illusion. It's all a game and we've just got to be smarter, you know. I think that's the message pretty much.
There you go. It's a good message. It's a good place to leave it. You know, we could talk for hours on the topic, but, you know, I would suggest, you know, come to newogar.ca, go to Auto Didactic channel, come to the New Now. We're starting a hub there. We're inviting all people that are genuinely interested in helping the world to see how they can help themselves. You know, no gurus, no leaders, nobody in charge. And, you know, I'll leave the links below for how you can reach out to all of us. You know, leave us your email if you want to contact. You can join our email list, et cetera, et cetera. And from there, perhaps together, we can learn how you can be free by your own hand. Because I would say no one can do it for you. No one can wake you up. As Cambell had said before, you got to put on your big boy pants. You got to pull up your bootstraps. You got to unchain yourself. You got to deslave yourself. Think of it any way you want. But if you're looking for someone to tell you it's okay, I would say you're probably going in the wrong direction.
And when they do say it's okay, gosh, be scared most of the time.
Yeah, be afraid. All right. Cambell,
indeed.
This has been great. Okay, thank you so much for joining us on our next Oddyssey special. I will put this up very soon. I guess this has been an Oddyssey of Truth special number 2 for the year. You know, Cambell and I are working on non-compliance. We're going to put that together and get it up next. You know, even as we make our own plans and our own desires, we find they fall by the wayside as life takes control. But we're strong enough and manly enough to sit back and see what needs to happen, you know, to change our desires and our rules, to allow life to tell us how we need to grow instead of us deciding to follow rules. And from there, we're hoping we can share with you the ways that you can do that for yourself as well. I love you all very much.
Indeed, and check out the links below, guys. Join our Telegram group, our email list, and our channels are down there. Give us a like, a subscribe, and share.
Yay! See you all soon. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Wake from reality. Wake from your dream. Wait to see.
Hello, everyone.
From the fear.
I'm here with Cambell. Cambell is here with me. We're going to discuss freedom shift very quickly. There's 8 ways we found, at the very least, you can shift your freedom with us, through us, and around us. And we'd be delighted to discuss the many ways that we feel are possible for our mutual growth and happiness, abundance, health, and joy. Freedomshift.life.
Indeed. It's 2022, guys. We don't want to be supporting this evil Babylon system anymore. It's time to stand on your own 2 feet. And that, of course, means jobs. Right? Jobs are slavery. It's time that we started working for ourselves and doing things that are fulfilling and things that are aligned with ourselves, our beings, our spirit, you know, because we all know that jobs kill that. So we need to go the other way. So guys, it's the year and we're just looking to give out different information and ideas to help people get along. But one thing I do want to say is we're looking for people who want to do something, who are ready. There's a saying that says, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. And there's a reason that they say that. It doesn't seem to make sense, but a busy person will get things done. And that's really what we're looking for. As we've said before, we've got a lot on our plate and we're doing this to try and help everyone. So what we're looking for is some people to come on board with us and to help move this forward. We We just don't have the time to do it all on our own. So that's really what we're looking for, guys, is we want to form a group. We've got different ideas, and you know, together with a group, we can help a lot of people. Lorenzo on our and myself on our own, with all our channels and all our other businesses and everything else going on, probably can't, you know, get that to maximum benefit. So if that sounds like you, if you're ready to go, you've got ideas, even if you don't have ideas, but you've got a dream and a will, please contact us and we'll have a chat.
We're setting up a hub, newagora.ca for now. We're going to move the name very soon, something that'll encompass everyone's freedom. If you want to shop, if you have a product, if you have a service, if you have some energy, if you have some ideas, if you're a content creator, all of those things, those are ways that we can help expand what you're doing through the viewership that we have, combining our viewerships. Cambell's doing well, lots of viewers. We're doing well, lots of viewers. Others are coming on to join us with their viewers. Stronger together than alone, as they say. Put a bunch of arrows together, you know, in your hand, you know, 1 or 2 you can break. You put 12 together, they're not going to break. So that's what we see as the intelligence of moving forward without having to fight the monsters, fight the powers that be. Just shift. You know, you don't got to yell, you don't got to argue. You can find a new way to shop if you want. You can find other jobs if you want. We can help you promote without, you know, selling your soul to the devil if you want. We can help expose your content if you want. You can work with us to make new content if you want. You know, Cambell has some services. I have some services. If you need inner help or outer help, we can also help. I can't imagine a way we couldn't work together if it is, as Cambell says, you're ready to get off your ass and do the work for yourself with us to shift your own freedom. We are certainly ready, and we're ready to have you along with us.
Definitely, definitely. Together, we're much, much stronger and more effective, guys. So if you want to be part of the team, if you want to move forward, help yourself, help others, and ultimately just help the earth, right? Help bring this into where we're supposed to be, then we'll leave a link, click it, and contact us, and we'll have a chat.
Yeah, as you share the information, we'll get back to you. Cambell, myself, or somebody else that's working with us, we're happy to discuss all the ways that could work. And if you have any new suggestions, we're open to those as well.
It is. And just please do keep in mind, guys, that we are extremely busy and we love you all. We would love to talk to all of you, but we unfortunately don't have the time to just have random hour phone calls to people who aren't really ready to do anything and who aren't ready to take action. So if that's you, if you're not ready, that's fine. You know, you might be ready soon. Sit down and see what it is you want to do. But if you're ready to go, we want to talk to you.
Yeah, and leave your email below. We'll leave a link for you to sign up, and then you can keep watching our stuff. We'll be sending out e-blasts at least once or twice a week. And when you're ready, as Cambell says, there will be a way for you to, at the very least, say you'd like to chat, and then we're happy to discuss and see what's possible for the all of us. Freedomshift.life. That 2022, let's move it forward. I'm feeling good. Cambell's looking good. We're getting younger and healthier and happier and more abundant as the days go by. You know, we can show you what we've done, so perhaps you can, as Cambell said, learn to do it for yourself. We are ready to work as you are for the audience.
Awaken your passion.
2022 is the year, guys. Let's go forward.
Awaken your love. Awaken your future. Wake to heighten your sight. Can't make me lie to my heart. No one tells me where I should start. Freedom.